Good morning, everyone. Or should I say good afternoon? How are we all doing? I hope all fantastically well. Who's for today, hey? I certainly am. It's going to be a really, really cool session today, guys. Loads of people in the chat already. Fantastic. I'm just connecting my headset up so we can get some better audio. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Good afternoon, Slav. Hey, Renee. Saman, good to hear from you. Hi, Harold. Richard, how you doing? Hey, Jason. I hope all is well with all of you. We'll give it a few minutes for people to join up. You can already tell by the title of the webinar that it's going to be quite a deep one today. Hey, Stephen. Hey, Linda. Okie dokie. So, guys, we'll start off today with kind of a question. How many of you have, I suppose, felt shaken after a string of losses? Or how many of you spiral out of control? Not necessarily when you just lose one trade, but when you lose 3, 4, or 5 in a row. How many of you kind of spiral out of control when that happens? I mean, I've done it before. I can put my hand up. Yeah, we've all been there, right? We've absolutely all been there. Andy, you're nervous to recover as well. Absolutely. It's heartbreaking, right? When you're trading, you get so excited. It's an emotional roller coaster. You get so excited about the return that you can get and how amazing your life can be. And you kind of see that pot of treasure at the end of the rainbow. You know, you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And, you know, you can have a really nice winning streak, regardless of how amazing that winning streak is. You experience 3, 4 losses in a row, and it all comes tumbling down. People, let me know in the chat how severe it is. Have you lost any accounts? Have you stopped trading because of it? You know, have you gone into that mindset of over trading, being greedy, revenge trading, FOMO? You know, all of these are quite familiar emotions. Like I said, I'll put my hand up. I have been there. 100% I have been there. And we all have, as traders, you all experience this. Seems like a lot of you are experiencing it now. Richard, lose heart after one or two trades, then stop trading for ages. Totally understand. Paul, Andy, Stephen, Slav. Like, these are completely normal emotions, right? They are all completely normal. Okay. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to basically provide a breakdown and go through everything in depth as to why losing streaks hurt more than just your account. They can hurt your habits and your psychology. We can look at the psychology behind kind of spiraling out or losing heart and losing interest in trading, how to interrupt it. We can kind of implement more of a framework into our trading to help us rebuild confidence. Tools, tactics, all of these things just to kind of help you reinforce your mindset. And all of it links into understanding your edge, okay? That it really all links into that. And it's a process that you have to follow. So I guess there's a lot of online gurus and people who don't necessarily know what they're doing, or people that aren't willing to give out the information. They'll always say, hey, look, if you experience a losing streak, continue with your strategy, be consistent, be disciplined. It's very, very broad, very, very brief, right? But it's so much easier said than done. So what I really want to do is sit down with you guys, map it all out, and be like, hey, look, this is the reality of it and what you kind of need to expect. Here's the reality. Here are the expectations of that reality. This is what you can do, and this is how you can manage it. This is how you can not only be better as a trader, but also be better as a person. Okay. The only online guru is LTI. I love that, Slav. Absolutely love it. Fabulous, fabulous. Amazing. So I'm going to ask quite a few questions throughout this webinar, guys. So feel free to interact, grab a notepad, grab a pen, take as many notes as possible. All right. And ask in the chat anything that you want to cover. All right. And I can go over kind of my framework and how I understand my edge and how it helps me with my trading too. So Haley, I trade only one instrument. When markets are stable, I make profit. But when there are things going on like Trump's tariffs, I lose the profits and no energy to the market. Yet we can cover stuff like that, absolutely. So today, like I said, we're going to help you build that framework. All right. So I'm going to present just a nice black screen for you guys, which you should be able to see now. Okay. And we're going to bring out the cheeky whiteboard, and we're going to go back to the classroom, and we're going to full on teach you guys today. Okay, so section 1, I guess, is what I like to call the confidence crash. Okay, we've all experienced it. One bad trade can rarely hurt, but 3 bad trades, 4 bad trades in a row that go and instantly hit your stop loss can absolutely destroy your momentum. Okay. And part of trading, whether that actually be in the setups that you find or even in your mindset, momentum plays a huge role. Okay. Plays a huge role. If you take one good trade, one excellent trade, another one, you build up that momentum and you feel like you're on top of the world. You feel fantastic, right? But there's a study that shows human beings, us as humans, we feel the negative twice as much as what we feel a positive. Okay. Twice as much. So regardless of how big and how fantastic our winning run can be, as soon as we experience that losing run, it kind of, goes to the end of the world. And you can see it happen actually in the markets every single day. Markets, when you're in a buyer's market, it usually goes like this, right? Markets go up. And you can see they're usually nice, slow and steady the majority of the time. Obviously, sometimes you can literally just get a straight line up, right? Sometimes it happens. It's rare. But you'll find on the sell side, something that's negative, markets actually tend to move quicker to the downside. Why is that? Why do markets do that? It's purely based on psychology. When we see something sell off, right? instantly there's a negative connotation to it. People get scared. People get fearful. People are more eager to sell off a position because that's the negative emotion. They feel it kind of twice as hard than a buyer's market. And that's when you see huge crashes happen. People purely making their decisions off of emotion alone, right? So there's a little bit of secret sauce for you. You'll usually find sells move quicker. Not all the time, but they do move quicker. Okay. So momentum can play a huge role in your trading. One bad trade is fine, right? 3 bad trades destroys it. Okay. And it's now about us saying, okay, how can we kind of build all of that up? How can we not make it destroy it, right? Because when you do get, let's say, 3 bad trades, or pound bad trades in this case, right? When we get 3 bad trades, okay, you then start to have fear creep in and hesitation and overcorrection, right? And this is what we call the silent cycle, right? There's probably loads of different jargon that's being thrown out here, but do bear with me, right? This is the silent cycle. You guys, for anybody that is inconsistent, will resonate with this. I certainly did when I first learned about it, okay? Silent cycle. What happens? Well, firstly, you experience a loss, okay? Then what happens? You hesitate. Oh. You hesitate to take another position because you've just come off of a loss. You think, oh, should I take another one? Right? When you then hesitate and you don't click the button, we then move to missed opportunity. Okay. And then you think, oh, why didn't I press the button? Why am I not good enough? Why didn't I have the courage to do it? I could have made my money back. And then you get frustrated. Or frustration. Okay. And then when you get frustrated, one of 2 things happen. The most common one is you revenge trade. Okay. Who here experiences this? Who here experiences this? They lose, they hesitate, they miss, they get frustrated, they revenge trade. I'm going to take all of this bit off here. And we're just going to have the silent cycle. Guilty, right? I did. It happens. It happens. I kind of want this to kind of hit home with you guys because this is not, it's nothing new. You guys, a lot of people feel it, but they don't want to admit it, or they don't know that they're in that cycle and that they're silent about it, right? So when they go through this period here, there are kind of a list of common mistakes that happen. We have people that then, got my caps lock on there, right? So common mistakes can be strapping, right? You can have people abandoning risk rules. people then changing up their time frames. Changing trade frequency, i.e. they're taking more trades or taking less, being way more cautious, right? Because everything that they do is based on kind of that fear, right? Just drop a yes in the comments if you're following along. I know some people are saying like yes, it suits them, but the more people that engage, the more value you're going to get out of this, right? Who feels like they're currently either in this or have experienced it? People who are currently in this, you're gonna get tons of value from today. Okay. Okay. Great stuff. Okay. Well, you're in the right place, guys. Don't worry. Okay. You're in the right place. So we understand that we can kind of get into this cycle, the loss, the hesitation, the missed opportunity. We get frustrated, then we revenge trade. It leads to strategy hopping, abandoning our risk rules, changing time frames, changing your trade frequency. But actually, you don't have to change any of it as long as you know your edge. Okay. So we are now going to move on to how can we reset this? Okay. And how do I reset it? Okay. So, section 2. Oh, the reset framework. Okay. All right. Section 2, the reset framework. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it Dan Tyler London Trading Institute Guru Psychology Framework if you wanted to, right? I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but this is something that over time you build and you improve and you optimize. Okay, so number 1 is you essentially have to accept and acknowledge that you're going to experience losses. Okay, by that I mean you have to, when you get a loss, you have to review your losses without judgment. Okay. My favorite saying is you log it, label it, leave it. Okay. You log it, you journal it in terms of, okay, this is the trade that I took. You label it. Was it good? Was it bad? Was it medium? How can I do better? How can I optimize it? What went wrong? Once you understand, you leave it. You leave it and you learn. Okay. The best way that you can do this, once it decides to go ahead and update. Here we go. Once you do this, and in order to do this, you need to keep a journal. I joke about it with a lot of the students that 80-90% of what you'll get from trading is, as a successful trader, you'll get it from doing admin work, doing paperwork, literally looking at your journal and, essentially improving what you are doing and seeing. Loads of people take a trade, it's a bad one, they take the loss, they don't log it, they don't label it, but they leave it, right? And then they take another bad trade, they don't log it, they don't label it, they don't, and they leave it, right? And they're not improving. You need a trade journal. In your trade journal, right, what I recommend is you essentially journal your entry, exit, risk to reward, journal win, loss, journal account balance. But more importantly, take screenshots. Okay, screenshots. There's such a. I've known students that have actually done a full video on why they're taking a trade and put that into their journal as well, right? But screenshots, you preferably want a before, during, and after the trade. Okay. Once you accept and you acknowledge, once you log it, label it, and leave it, you then essentially go ahead and you recalibrate your process. You optimize. Okay. So this can be essentially just returning to your core plan or your setup checklist. Okay. Sometimes it's easy to kind of veer off track, right? And sometimes you just need a compass to, tell you true north and follow that. And that is what your plan and what your checklist will do for you. When you're veering off, you log it, you label it, you leave it, you then optimize and you say, right, okay, this is my checklist. This is my structure. Am I following it? What am I doing wrong? If you're following it, it's part of the plan. We all experience losses, unfortunately, right? And if you're not following the plan, well, you've got your answer. You know exactly where you can improve. Okay. But return to your core criteria. Figure out what's working, what isn't working. Are you following the plan? Are you not? You can then simplify. Okay. This means, if you're really struggling from an emotional standpoint, you can either reduce position sizes to make it a little bit easier on your brain and on your emotions. You can strip back indicators. You can only focus on one setup. It's kind of what I recommend. Okay. And then number 2, or number 3, should I say, is then rebuild. Okay. You can trade smaller size on a demo, or whatever, right? We can say trade smaller size, get used to it again. You can take fewer trades, but if you take fewer trades, usually I'd say no, don't take fewer trades. You need to keep going. You need to keep doing what you're doing, right? But if you do want to, you need to make up for it by journaling more, i.e. more detail. Okay. The more, the better. And kind of the best one out of the rebuild section is you can just add a simple reward system. So add simple reward system to rebuild your trade confidence. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean, maybe have a mechanical take profit or risk to reward. Say, hey, look, I don't care where this market is going. I don't care whether it goes up, down, sideways, whatever. If it's a good setup, I'm going to get out of the trade when I've made 2x on my return. A 2-to-1 reward to risk. And my TP is always going to be set at 2-to-1 reward to risk. Okay. You can absolutely do that. You know, some people, they can widen their stop losses for less risk to reward. Because what a lot of people miss out on is the tighter your stop, it equals higher risk. It means that your win rate, which equals lower win rate. Okay. Tight stop loss, higher risk, lower win rate. You're not going to win as many as your trades because you're risking more. The market needs to move less of a distance to stop you out. On the opposite end of that, it also needs to move less of a distance for you to make your money back, plus some more. The tighter your stop loss, the more reward that you can get. But in order to get more reward, you need more risk. It's a fine balancing act, okay? Whereas the wider your stop loss is lower risk equals higher win rate. Gosh, blimey. It's like I've made it up on the spot, hey? It's like an absolute revelation, right? Like, look, if your stop loss is wider, you actually have a less chance of being stopped out and a higher chance of you winning the trade. You'll find you can make a career out of being a one-to-one trader, i.e., you risk £100 to gain £100. A one-to-one reward to risk. Okay. You can make a very, very good career out of doing that. And you can get a high percentage win rate. Talking of win rates, who here, and I want you to genuinely be honest, right? There absolutely are wrong answers, right? But what is a realistic win rate to everybody in the chat today? Some people will be some of our students already, so they'll have quite a good idea on what an acceptable win rate is or what's realistic. Just put a percentage in the chat for me. What do you think is a realistic percentage win rate? Not reward to risk, Harold. Win rate, percentage. So Suraj, okay. Okay. So we've got 50%, 60%, 75%, 40%, even 10%, right? What if I told you your win rate is a complete fallacy if you understand your numbers? Take win rate completely out of the equation. If I told you that I have a 20% win rate, but when I win, I get a 10 to 1, I'm making money. So, Stephen, you've hit it the nail on the head. Depends on your risk to reward. Okay. Depends on the trader, depends on your personality. Loads of people, I'm actually really, really impressed with you guys. So well done. You know, loads of people think I need a 90% win rate. No, you don't. You don't. You actually only need, on average, you know, a 50% win rate is good, really good. If you're getting a 1-to-1, you're going to be break even. If you're getting anything over a 1-to-1 on your trades, you're going to be making money in the long run. Okay. Realistically, your win rates can be anywhere. They can be anywhere from 10%. I've known traders that have made really, really good money with a 20% win rate. Not necessarily 10, but more kind of 20% mark. And I've known traders that have a 90% win rate. Difficult, but they do it. Okay. People perform at that level. All right. Is all of this making sense, guys? Yeah. This is all helping. So just to kind of clarify, we understand why we spiral out, you know, why we get disheartened, why we then go on and strategy hop and, you know, do all of these crazy things we don't need to do. Whereas instead, you can follow this framework of accept and acknowledge, log it, label it, leave it, journal it, move on into number 2, optimize it, return to your core approach. What are you following the plan? Yes or no? Simplify. You can look at your position size. You can look at your indicators. You can only focus on one strategy or one setup. Then you can rebuild. And you go, okay, what do I need to do? I need to rebuild that confidence and say, hey, look, I might take a bit smaller trade sizes. I might take just some fewer trades. But if I do that, I'm going to journal more detail. And I'm going to add a bit more of a simpler reward system into what I do. Mechanical TPs, mechanical risk to rewards. I'm going to widen my stop loss, reduce my target profit, only go for 1-to-1 trades or 1.5-to-1 trades. Because the more you win as a person, the more confident you'll feel. Okay. And the journey for everybody is for you just to one day just wake up and something just click in your brain and go, aha, I've got it. I know what I'm doing. And it's that moment where it really unlocks your potential in trading. You have to put all of this work in first. There's a reason why the majority of people fail in this industry. It's because they go and they take 3 losses on the bounce. It destroys their momentum. It disheartens them. They refuse to accept and acknowledge. They refuse to optimize and they refuse to rebuild because it's taken too much of an emotional toll, an emotional impact on them. Okay. We say, look, with trading, it's split into 3 core categories, right? I say it to everybody. I near enough say it every single week. 3 core categories: strategy, risk management, trade plan or trading edge. Okay. Strategy, risk management, trading edge. It's more like this. It's more like strategy, risk management, trading edge, trade plan. Your strategy is only a very, very small piece of the pie. Okay. Very small piece of the pie. There's nothing stopping you from going on YouTube right now. We're streaming live on YouTube as well, right? Nothing stopping you from going on YouTube, nicking a strategy, using it. If it worked that way and if it was that easy, everyone would be rich. You probably wouldn't even need to join onto this live, right? But it's not that easy because the majority of people miss out on understanding how to manage their money safely and focusing on their trade plan, okay? And being able to control their emotions when they're trading. This framework will really, really help you guys, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to show you a live example that I went through with some of the one-to-one students this morning on a trade that didn't quite feel right. Something that didn't quite feel right about it. I didn't want to take the trade because it didn't meet my criteria. I was actually able to kind of miss out on it and wait for a better opportunity. Okay, so let's investigate that. Let me stop sharing my screen, and we can look at. Yeah, we can also do some live analysis as well, guys. So we won't miss that out. All right. So. The trade itself was on Euro Yen, I believe. That's fine. Okay. It has actually gone up and would have hit take profit, but I'll show you exactly why, to me, this wasn't a good trade. Okay. I'm just going to thicken the line for you. Now, next week, guys, I'm going to put it out there. I am going to hold a webinar on a strategy that wins about 80% of the time. Back tested, proven results over the last 5-6 years. Next week, if you want to join, I'll show you guys in depth a strategy that wins about 80% of the time. All right. So this morning, what was I looking at with our one-to-one students? Well, we were actually looking at buying Euro Yen. It looked great, right? However, we were looking at buying it kind of like down here. And the reality is, it's like, if you don't have a process and you don't have a system and you're kind of just buying in scenarios like this, I can almost guarantee in the long run, you'll lose money. Because this is a very high risk, uncertain area. All right. Very high risk, very uncertain. Because we didn't really have any confirmation. I'll show you the trade checklist that I used. Okay. So I might actually be able to put it on here. Right. So what do I look for? So I look for this. I look for number one. I look for a clear trend. Okay. Oh, my bad. Okay. Number one, I look for a clear trend. Number 2, I look for trade detector signals. So basically, I look for signs of TD1, TD3, and TD5. So what you can see on your screen here is essentially TD1 are these big green squares, TD3 is this one here with these blue and red spikes, and then TD5 is this overbought and oversold oscillator here, right? So number 1, I look for a clear trend. Number 2, I look for, I've just realized I've spelt that wrong. Right. I look for all 3 of these. Okay. Number 3, I look for a inner trend line break. Okay. Let me put number 3 there. And then I look for a break of structure. Right. What I mean by breaks of structure is essentially when we have a high or a low taken out of the market. Okay. Then I look for I look at my moving averages. So I look at 8 and a 21 EMA. Oh, whoopsie daisy. 5, 8-21 EMA crossover. Okay. And then number 6, I look for a Fibonacci pullback. Okay. All right, we've gone in a bit of a diagonal here, but but you guys can see, right? I don't just look for one thing. I look for multiple. The way I like to kind of see it is these are kind of like the energies of the market, and they all have to align. If they don't align, it's like, am I gambling? You know, am I taking a high probability trade? The more confluences you have, the more things that are aligning together, the higher probability it is. So the average trader, someone who's fearful or has the fear of missing out, right? Yeah, okay. If we took the trade here, because we were actually looking at taking the trade right at the bottom of this candle, you can see it bounced and it went up right away, right? Actually a really nice trade. But the thing is that it's a low probability scenario, okay? Because out of all of these, what were being met? Well, we had a clear trend down, which was fine. We had all of our 3 trade detector signals. Again, absolutely fine. We didn't have a break of structure, though. We didn't have a trend line break. We didn't have a Fibonacci pullback either. And our 8 and our 21 EMA didn't cross over. So actually, the grand scheme of things, we were looking at really 1 or 2 out of 6 as a trade. That's really low probability, right? You know, if you've got a checklist of 6 and you're taking trades just having 2 out of your 6, well, you know, it's not very high probability, is it? So I actually missed out on this trade. And I missed out because I wasn't scared of missing out. I now know on Euro Yen, we now have a much higher probability entry coming in. I'm now looking for a pullback. It now meets near enough all of my criteria. We have a clear trend down. We've had all 3 trade detector signals. We've had an inner trend line break. We've had a break of previous highs. You can see the market consolidated. It's then come up and it's broken those. I can assume we've had an 8 and 21 EMA crossover. For some reason, my MT4 has been an absolute pain in the bum and it won't let me add moving averages in. So let's have a quick look at moving averages on my trading view. Okay. That's the 5 minute. We want to look at the 15. Perfect. So our 8 and our 21 exponential moving averages have crossed over, right? So if we go back to MetaTrader, out of all of these, what do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Do we have number 6? Where is our Fibonacci pullback going to come in? Let's put this here. Okay. Bang. Right in this area. Okay. You can add another one in of S and R, support and resistance. Okay. You can see that here is a level where we have a nice area of a Fibonacci pullback. All of our rules have been met. Here is an area where we get a Fibonacci pullback, and we will be entering an area where there is previous resistance and support. That right there is an absolutely fantastic trading opportunity. Can you guys see how trades like this that don't meet your criteria are a lot worse and a lot more from a gambling mindset, a lot more of an emotional mindset compared to this? And this is what patience can do. Do you see what I mean? Just put a yes or a no in the chat if that makes sense or doesn't make sense. Let me know. You know, am I sending you guys to sleep? Am I keeping you awake? Right? Okay, a few yeses. And it's also okay for you guys to say no, by the way. just got a quick question here. So do we simply stay out? Let me pop it up here. Look. So do we simply stay out of the markets where there are things affecting the markets? I have a 90% win rate when markets are stable, then lose the bloody lot when there are news events. So Haley, it's a lot more deep rooted than just blaming it on the news. There'll be multiple things that you need to look at. You need to look at the strategy. You need to look at your risk management. You need to look at your plan, right? Hopefully, I've already kind of made you aware that your win rate doesn't matter. You could have a 90% win rate. You could have a 10% win rate. In all honesty, I don't care what your win rate is. What I care about and what traders should care about is, am I consistently making money? If the answer to that is no, then there's a problem. We need to figure out what that problem is. Like, look, I'm going to be totally honest. When it comes to trading, people lose their mind. They throw logic out the window because it's such a crazy industry. There's so much money that you can make from clicking buttons and just looking at a screen. It is unbelievable. It's unreal, right? If anything, it's magical and fantastic as to how amazing this opportunity is for anybody that wants to learn how to trade. But it gets so clouded because people see that reward and they think that it's easy, and they throw all the logic out the window as to, why they're not making money. It's really easy to kind of shift the blame, shift the responsibility onto it was the news, or shift the responsibility onto it's the markets, it's just that instrument right now. Or you can shift the blame onto no, it wasn't me. I've got, a fantastic win rate. It's just the market. Just the market just doesn't like me. The market's out to get me is usually a lot of the thing that you'll hear, right? It is complete. What's the polite word of saying it? you could probably guess my next word. It's not true. Trading is arguably the only industry where you are the only person that is responsible and is accountable for your results. You cannot control the market. You cannot control the performance of the market. The only thing that you can control are your actions, and your actions lead to making money. So if you've got a really high percentage win rate, and this isn't just for you, Haley, this is for everybody, right? If you've got a really high percentage win rate and you're absolutely flying, and then all of a sudden you lose the lot, something wrong. You're not making consistent money. So I hope that makes sense. I hope you found some value in that as well. Yeah, sure. Yen pairs are trickier. CHF pairs are trickier. I won't name any names, but I've worked with a one-to-one student. Really, really good guy. Lots of trading experience already, and his performance was very, very mixed. Right over his trading career, very, very mixed. He would have periods of making money, have periods of losing money. After actually looking at his journal and following that framework, log it, label it, leave it, right? After following that framework, both him and me sat down and we identified that the yen and CHF were his biggest losers. And they were the pairs he most traded. He traded the yen and he traded CHF. He was losing in them, but it's where he was placing most of his money. So you can only imagine the frustration that would cause. As soon as we identified that, and as soon as we've taken the yen and CHF currencies out of his trading plan, lo and behold, he's flying. He's making money. And if you look at his performance and you actually look at his journal and you take out all of the trades that he's taken on yen and all of the trades that he's taken on CHF, right? Take all of that out, you can see that he's actually making money, right? That is the power of this framework. Even if you're on a bad losing streak, it's important that you follow these processes, that you have a framework in place to follow your edge, you know, to help you rebuild your confidence, to understand your numbers, to understand what your edge actually is. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense, guys. All right. So for anybody that wants to join on to the next webinar, we'll release the details for it. I'll be showing you my exact strategy on that has about an 80% win rate at the moment. It is absolutely kind of the bread and butter of my trading, right? Something that I've traded with for, I want to say probably about 4 years now. It's really, really powerful. However, we do have 2 more spaces left open for a few of our programs for either one-to-one coaching. Basically, anybody that's looking to get funded or anybody that is looking to understand how to manage their money safely, looking to kind of make trading career, only for serious people. We have a couple of spaces open to the end of May. Essentially, we're bringing on people that want to work on a one-to-one basis, want to have a mentor to get the results and basically take their trading full time. We're limiting it to only 2 because we have quite a lot of one-to-one students already, and we want to make sure that we provide, you know, the right amount of coaching, the right amount of support to people. But, you know, if it is of any interest to anybody, you can just simply just go ahead and WhatsApp me, to be honest. Let me just quickly grab my WhatsApp link. Bear with. If it actually wants to... Oh. I'll quickly grab my WhatsApp link and then you guys can drop me a message. Here we are. Drop me a message. More than happy to help. You know, no such thing as a stupid question. If you're looking for any just simple support, any guidance, someone to point you in the right direction, I'm always happy to help, give up a little bit of time to, you know, make sure you guys are on the right path. I always say, like, look, trading, it's like any other profession in the world. You need to follow the process in order to get qualified. You don't just wake up one day and become a brain surgeon and start performing brain surgery on people. It does not work like that. Trust me, I wish it did. But it doesn't work like that. If you woke up one day and started performing brain surgery on people, I can almost guarantee that you'll probably go to prison, right? However, in order to be a brain surgeon, you have to go to university, get a PhD, go into theatre, practice on dummies, learn from people that have been doing it for years and have been successful in doing it, learning from some of the best surgeons in the country or even the world, right? And trading's the same. You don't just wake up one day and become a profitable trader. Again, easy, but sometimes you just need to have, you know, you need to follow the right process, whether that be getting the right education, whether that be getting the right guidance. You know, some people are already there. Some people need more guidance than others, you know. but it's really important that you follow the right path. Don't cut any corners if you want to make this a success. If you cut corners, you'll get inconsistent or bad results. Okay. All right. Cool, guys. Right. Any questions, even if it's just a question on today, if you're looking for any additional support, if you want to inquire about anything that we do, drop me a message on WhatsApp. More than happy to help, guys. As I said, we have another webinar for next Thursday, which I'll release the details out over the next week. It'll be good to have all of you guys there. Thank you for joining. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to hearing from all of you again soon. Thanks so much, guys. Take care, and we'll speak soon.